Dr. Seuss book, Sleep Book. This is a book read in bed. Dr. Seuss Sleep Book. The news just came in from the county of Keck that a very small bug by the name Van Vleck is yawning so wide you can look down his neck. This may not seem very important, I know, but it is. So I'm bothering to tell you so. A yawn is quite catching, you see, like a cough. It just takes a yawn to start with others to yawn off. Now the news has come in that some friends of Van Vleck are yawning so wide you can look down their necks. And this moment right now, under 7 more noses, great yawns are in blossom. They're blooming like roses. The yawn of that one little bug is still spreading. According to the latest reports, it is heading across the wide fields, through the sleepy night air, across the whole county towards every which way. And people are gradually starting to say, I feel rather drowsy. I've had quite a day. Creatures are starting to think about rest. 2 buffer baum birds are now building their nest. They do it each night, and quite often I wonder how they do this big job without making a blunder. But that is their problem, not yours and not mine. The point is they're going to bed, and that's fine. Sleep thoughts are spreading throughout the whole land. The time for the night brushing of teeth is at hand. Up the Heckhine falls where the great rivers rushes, and the crashes down crags is great gargling gushes. The Herkheiner sisters using their brushes, those falls are just grand toothbrushing beneath, if you happen to be up that way with your teeth. The news just came down in from the castle of Knop. The lights are out and the drawbridge is up. And the old drawbridge drawer said, just with a yawn, my drawbridge is drawn and it's going to stay drawn. The milkman delivers the milk about dawn. I'm going to bed, so nobody better come round with the special delivery letter. The number of sleepers is steadily growing. Bed is where more and more people are going. In Culpeper Springs, in the Salt Walker Halls, in the Stilt Walkers have called it a day. They're all tuckered out and they're snoozing away. This is very big news. It's important to know. That is why I'm bothering to tell you so. Way in the west, in the town of Marycold, the Honklehorn Honking Club just went to bed. Every horn has been quietly hung on a hook for the night in its own private hunkily honk nook. All the long happy days they've been honking about, and their honkles have honkered themselves out. But they'll wake up quite fresh in the morning, and then they'll start honking and honking and honking again. Everywhere creatures are falling asleep. The collapsible fink just collapsed in a heap, and by adding the frink to the others before, I am able to give you the who's asleep saw right now. 40,404 creatures are happily, deeply in slumber. I think you'll agree that this whooping fine number. Counting up sleepers, just how do we do it? Really quite simple. There's nothing much to it. We find out how many, we learn the amount by an audio tally count. On a mountain halfway between Reno and Rome, we have a machine in a plexing dome which listens and looks in everyone's home, and whenever it sees a new sleeper go flop, it jiggles and lets the Bengal ball drop. Our clamp counts these balls as the plump in a cup, and that's how we know who's down and who's up. Do you talk in your sleep? It's a wonderful sport. I have some news in the sport to report. The world champion sleep talkers, Joe and Mo Red Zoloff, have just gone to sleep and they're talking their heads off. For 55 years now, each chattering bother has babbled and gabbled all night to each other. They've talked about laws, they've talked about gauze, they've talked about paws, and they've talked about flaws. They've talked quite a lot about old Santa Claus, and the reason I'm telling you this is because you should take up the sport. It's just fine for the jaws. Do you walk in your sleep? I just had a report of something interesting news of this popular sport. Near Finnegan Fen, there's a sleepwalking group which not only walks, but it walks a la hoop. Every night they go miles. Why they walk in such length? They have to keep eating to keep up their strength. So every often one puts down his hoop, stops hooping, and does some quick snooping for soup. That's why they are known as the Hoop Soup Snoop group. Sleepwalking as two other curious crandles who sleepwalk on hills with assorted sized candles. The crandles walk nightly in slumbering peace in spite of slight burns from the hot dripping grease. The crandles wear candles because they walk far and they wake up, want to see where they are. Now the news has arrived from the Valley of Vale that Chippendale Mupp has just bitten his tail, which does he every night before shutting his eyes. Such nipping sounds silly, but real it's wise. He has no alarm clock, so this is the way he makes sure he'll wake at the right time of the day. His tail is so long he won't feel any pain till the nip makes the trip and gets to his brain. In exactly 8 hours, the Chippendale Mupp will at last feel the bite and yell, "Ouch!" and wake up. A Mr. and Mrs. J. Carmichael Crocs have just gone near the town of Fort Knox, and they by the way have the finest of clocks. I'm not sure that I quite understand just how the thing works with that one extra hand, but I do know that this clock does one very slick trick. It does tick tock. It goes tock tick. So with the ticks in its tocker and the tock in its ticker, it saves a lot of time and the sleepers sleep quicker. What a fine night for sleeping. From all that I hear, it's the best night sleeping for many a year. They're asleep in the Swyback Motel and don't usually sleep there too well. The beds are like rocks, and as everyone knows, the sheets are too short, they won't cover your toes. So if people are actually sleeping in there, it's great night sleeping. It must be the air. It's a great night for snores. I just had a report of some of the boys who are tops of the musical sport. The snortiest snorts in all our fair land are the Snorter McFeelers and the Snore a Snort band. This band can snort Dixie and Old Swanee River so loud it would make 40 elephants shiver. The loudest of the boys is McPhile. He snores with his head in a 3-gallon pail. So they snore in a cave 20 miles out of town. If they snored any closer, they would snore the town down. Do you know who sleeps out in a Funu lagoon? 2 very nice Funu lagoon baboons. We've added them into our who's asleep count, which has grown in a rattly amazing amount. Really amazing amount. Exactly 8,808,000 creatures are sleeping now. Isn't that great? A Jed is in bed, and the bed of a Jed is the softest of beds in the world. It's said he makes it from pom-poms, he grows it from his head, and he's sleeping right now on the softest of fluff, completely exhausted from growing the stuff. The news has come from the district of Doft, and that the two oft are sleeping, and they're sleeping aloft. And how they are able to sleep off the ground, I'll tell you. I weighed one last week, and I found that the oft is so light, he weighs minus a pound. A moose is asleep, he's dreaming of moose drinks. A goose is asleep, he's dreaming of goose drinks. That's well and good when a moose dreams of moose juice, and there's nothing goes wrong when the goose dreams of goose juice. But it isn't too good when a moose and a goose start dreaming, they're drinking the other one's juice. Moose juice, not juice, juice, moose, not juice, not goose juice is just for a moose, and the goose juice, not moose juice, is just for a goose. So when the goose gets a mouthful of juices of mooses, and the moose gets a mouthful of juices of gooses, they always fall out of the bed screaming. So I'm warning you now, never drink in your dreams. Speaking of dreaming, I think I should note that the Bumble Tub Club is now dreaming afloat. Every night they go dreaming down Bubble Tub Creek, except for one night every third or fourth week when they stop for repairs, cause their bumble tubs leak, and tonight they're afloat full of dreams, full of bliss. And that's why I'm bothering to tell you this, as the fork of a road in the Vale of Vadud, 5 foot wary salesmen have laid down their load, and they've all raced around in the heat at top speeds, unsuccessfully trying to sell Zizazoof seeds, which nobody wants because nobody needs. Tomorrow will come, they'll go back to their chores, they'll start on the road, ziggazoofing once more, but tonight they've forgotten their feet are so sore, and that's what the wonderful night time is for. Everywhere creatures have shut off their voices. They've all gone to bed in their bed of their choices. They're sleeping in nooks and they're sleeping in cracks, some on their tummies and some on their backs. They're peacefully sleeping in comfortable holes, some even soft tufted barber shop poles. The number of sleepers is now past the millions. The number of sleepers is now past the billions. They're sleeping on steps, on strings and on floors, in mailbox ships and keyholes of doors. Every worm on a fish hook is safe for the night. Every fish in the sea is too sleepy to bite. Every whale in the ocean has turned off his spout. Every light between here and Farfoodle is out. And now adding things up, we are way beyond billions, whose asleep score is now in the zillions. 99 zillion, 99 trillion and 2 creatures are sleeping. So how about you? When we put out your light, then the number will be 99 zillion, 9 trillion and 3. Good night. Swadika. Sleep well.